I'm outside the Russian embassy in London, where hundreds of people have come out to show their support for Alexei Navalny. The mood here is mixed. People are angry, but they're also deeply saddened at losing what they consider to be a beacon of democracy in Russia. And it really has come as a huge shock and surprise to the world. Just yesterday, Alexei Navalny was seen at a court appearance via video link from a notorious prison in the Arctic Circle on a video, and then within hours he was reportedly dead. Prison authorities said he lost consciousness after going out for a walk, and then he couldn't be revived. This really is considered a blow to the democracy movement in Russia and also the opposition. He was seen as being the fiercest, most staunch critic against Vladimir Putin. He really rose to global prominence in 2011 after he exposed corruption in the parliamentary elections. He then announced that he was going to run for president in 2017, but his candidacy was blocked. He continued to do his work, announcing dozens of investigations into corruption at the highest levels of Russian government. And then in 2020, we'll remember that he was poisoned with the nerve agent Novichok. He was then flown to Germany to recover, and in early 2021 he announced he would return to Russia despite the fact that there were reports he would be detained. That's exactly what happened. He was arrested on arrival into Moscow and charged with a number of different offences, including extremism and fraud, charges that he, his supporters and also many global leaders have described as being politically motivated. He was then subsequently sentenced to more than 30 years in prison. Let's take a listen to what some of the people here on the ground have had to say in remembrance of Alexei Navalny.
Alexei Navalny was, the first who support democracy in Russia. He wanted to decline government of Putin, but Putin exactly his one-to-one enemy.
Navalny was always a big hope from many people in Russia, and he was one of the very few who was able to connect with people across different parties.
There were security talks in Munich, Germany today, where lots of leaders from around the world had gathered. So we heard from them, one after the next came out to show their respects for all of the work that Alexei Navalny had done, but also to condemn Russia and Vladimir Putin. His wife, Yulia, just happened to be at those talks, and she was given a standing ovation when she took to the stage. Let's take a listen.
Но если это правда.
I want Putin and all his entourage, Putin's friends and his government, to know that they will be held accountable for what they have done to our country, to my family and to my husband. And that day will come very soon. I want to call on the entire world community, everybody in this room and people around the world, that we come together to unite and defeat this evil, defeat the horrific regime that is now Russia.
Очень скоро.
The global condemnation was really swift and it was fierce. We saw global leader after global leader come out and show their respect for the work that Alexei Navalny had done to raise the democracy to a level of prominence that the globe took attention to or paid attention to, and also to condemn Vladimir Putin and Russia, laying the blame squarely at the Kremlin's feet for his death. Let's take a listen to what some of the leaders had to say, including the US President Joe Biden and also the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky.
We don't know exactly what happened, but there is no doubt that the death of Navalny was a consequence of something that Putin and his thugs did.
Obviously, he was killed by Putin, like thousands of others who have been tormented, tortured because of this one person. Putin doesn't care who dies, as long as he retains his position.
Alexei Navalny was a symbol of a free and democratic Russia. That is precisely why he had to die.
It's really important to remember that Alexei Navalny's death is in a long line of other anti-Kremlin and anti-Putin critics who have paid the ultimate price under his leadership. We saw just last year that Yevgeny Prigozhin was killed in a plane crash just weeks after leading a mutiny against the Kremlin. And in 2015, the former opposition leader Boris Nemtsov also saw the same fate. He was shot on a bridge in Moscow. So, this comes at a critical time for Russia, just weeks out from the presidential election there, and it's a huge blow for the opposition party at this point in time where Vladimir Putin looks almost unrivaled in his power.